أنا اسمي أديبة ويزيدية إنسانية. وين عدالة في الدنيا؟ هاليوم نحن نشوف ماكو عدالة.
They said to the Yazidi, come to Canada. They said, we will help you with housing and with trauma resources. And then they did come to Canada, but they were just kind of forgotten. In a situation where women have been tortured, raped and raped and raped multiple times, I think it's, to be honest, I think it's the least we can do. The least we can do is do what we promised we would do.
How do you do a successful petition about this, the Yazidi trauma care and what's going on?
Just imagine what life would be like, that if you were being persecuted, that you are, well, for being who you are.
If we stop fighting for each other, we lose our humanity. I don't have to be a Yazidi to fight for Yazidis.
What I really would love is to make this genocide the very last one, the very, very last one.
برا عصابكن أفقي كيدوان يا خوش كيدوان سعراوان $15 أبو $15 تروح.
Please, if you can, in your heart, consider this as your sister, as your aunt, as your mother, being sold into sex slavery in the Islamic State network.
So working with refugees and youth, and I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware of this, and
You were? When did you become aware?
through your film.
Oh,
I thought you were saying that. Yeah.
Oh.
And Adiba has been doing well, and we helped raise money, and she went back to Mount Sinjar and helped the people there and took clothes and helped them with food, and it was very moving. And so we maintained contact with Adiba. We've talked to her on the phone. Not recently, though.
Yeah, Majed mentored us that what's best is to empower Adiba when she's there, that don't try to send goods to Sinjar, but enable her to purchase there around herself in Sinjar, and provide items for the Yazidi people that really need things there. And then he set up a blog where we could post pictures from her from Iraq.
That's right.
As we were fundraising. And we really learned a lot actually from Majed and Adiba.
We really did.
It's really impossible to even imagine what they've been through. It's impossible. It's so dehumanizing. It's so non-human, their life experience. In the end, they're, seeing their brothers, their uncles, their fathers, their children being, murdered in front of them, and then to be raped 20 times a day, how do you ever function after something like that?
Well, I know and Adiba is like a symbol of courage to me. And Nadia Murad, who I knew about beforehand because she emerged after 2014, and she said that it was a fate worse than death, and she
wished she'd been killed.
Yeah, it would have been easier. Yeah,
and yet look at her today. She would never have imagined her future and the compelling strength that she's demonstrating, and then the difference that she's making in the lives of not only her own culture, but individuals like myself and others in other cultures that need to be aware of these perpetual genocides, you know, that are like 25 million people, 47 genocides, like over time. Like, you know, there's a lot of healing that has to take place on this planet, you know, in general. You know, a lot of stuff we haven't been aware of. But if you take a look at the films, you know, and you both have access to take a look at some of the films that have been screened, the stories are, you know, it's a story of life experiences that are hard to imagine, but it also includes the story of how the human spirit, you know, is able to overcome those extreme challenges and still function in life and to be able to create, you know, positive change. And it takes time, but I think you will. As I watch your film, I think of the other filmmakers as well, like how powerful it would be to get the filmmakers together to share and discuss and some of their experiences and where they may have had some success and how that could be recreated in, you know, some of the other initiatives that are underway across the world at the moment. Anyway, I digress. My apologies.
I liked your digression. That was inspiring.
Yeah.
And that's why you make documentaries, that you help in a very, very small way that you can help.
And I'm glad it touched you. I'm so glad you saw it.
Me too. Me too.
You know, thank you for watching the film.
It's a privilege. It's a total privilege. It's almost like it's like your mission. You know, how did you get drawn into this? How do you care so much? You know, I'm talking about you two and your team. Like, you just got pulled into it and you're so focused, you know. You remind me of my mother and my father have been volunteering in organizations for so long, for their entire lives. It's almost like a mission or something, you know?
Touching.
Well, I wasn't very vulnerable in the film, really, but when I was first reading, and I was reading a lot about, I was doing a website on violence against women, and then this started to pour in around the world. Any source, it started to happen. Journalists were exposing it in all different directions and so on. And I found it was like breaking me. I found it unbelievable. I found it not unbelievable, completely believable, and horrifying. And there's things that I was reading about that, I mean, that film is light compared to what was happening. It was so extreme, the cruelty and hatred.
Though it's
was
expressed,
just beyond
it
extreme.
is expressed, Chris.
Yeah, it's there, but it's not. It could be
saying.
So much more dark. And we tried to focus obviously on something. Mo decided to focus on the positivity of women getting together and trying to reach out to these other women who are suffering so much. And we were part of the push to bring Yazidi to Canada. We wrote letters. We had a letter writing campaign. And but you know, it's so funny about government. Like, you know, they do what they want. I mean, you can be part of that energy for them, where you're writing letters about something they already want to do. I'm not as cynical as I sound, but it's kind of like that. But they did bring all these women and girls here.
Yeah.
And they were like in terrible shape. And they didn't follow through on the therapy.
Though they were committed that they would.
And it was the bureaucracy. I was reading it back then. The bureaucracy didn't support the members of parliament. The bureaucracy decided, oh no, we've already got a bureaucracy in place. They can turn to it. And it was wrong. Like, it was just so wrong-headed. You know, and I feel that they let the members of parliament down because they didn't do what they said they were going to do. And but you know, having said that, we still wanted to pressure them, like, wake up.
Yeah, stay with the story, stay with the program. Yeah, you got to. Yeah, that's so. You know, first of all, the individuals who are perpetrating this kind of taking action on these people in this way, like, what in the world happened to them to be, you know, I'm thinking about those who are attacking these people, you know, the ISIS, like, what in the world, you know, my mind's like, what kind of life experience did they have as a youth to be so entrained in the way to only see
Be so
torture is the path to take, of others to be the path that's the right path. Like, I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that.
I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think that's exactly what's going on here. People like to think, forgive me, I shouldn't care.
No, it's okay, yeah.
But that, they've suffered as much as the victim. Well, no. And there's a whole whole world in place encouraging something like this to happen. This has happened, right? And the ISIS put out a call to the men around the world, and Natty Barrett talks about that. We were raped by men from every country in the world.
Really?
So the evil men, looking for a chance to rape, looking for a chance to murder, were called together by ISIS. And if you think about the percentage of psychopathy in sociopathy in the human beings, and particularly men, and that there was a call put out to batterers, to rapists, come, to murderers, come here, we want you. And you had some of the most cruel men in the world there. And also you have this pseudo-religious, absolute nonsense, right? That this is some kind of religious endeavor. Like,
they were devil worshippers.
The Yazidi deserve this, for their religion. And our religion is superior. It's all just male violence against women. All just misogyny in my mind. And an opportunity to act out. And they also stole. Like, the amount of wealth that they were accumulating was phenomenal. They were, like, anywhere there was oil, they'd conquer that area. And, it was really scary what was going on there in terms of destroying the wealth of different countries in that area.
Yeah. They totally destroyed their villages, so there was nowhere for them to go. And it was just horrible afterwards. It's I think the internet, like, I blame the internet for some of the extremity of what went on there, because of that call went out through the internet, and what the encouragement to behave like that there in that society, but also throughout the world, drawing these men throughout the world. Yeah,
it was.
Well, help us to understand, like, hearing the story over and over and over, in the trauma that these women have gone through. What kind of support do you require to help you feel sustainable as a support group to these women? Like, do you feel that you would, like, in hindsight, require some how to, support trauma-based situations, or like in addition to what the government, the support you're looking from the government, like, would it be helpful to have some level of workshops or training around how to work with individuals who have PTSD times 20?
I know what you're saying, but we realize, like, we can't be the ones to do it. We can't. We need a government to spend $120 million. Like, we're never going to raise even 100,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that we needed a powerful action to take place, and we needed to find the people who really knew, and that's why we championed the guy who created the German model, Kizilhand, for that, and we've worked with him since then on public forums and so on, where he attends, and they created a really great model, and we put it up on our website. We had a friend of ours in Germany go meet with him and interview him and transcribe her notes and all this, and we gave her
because therapists don't have the skill set to deal with these women.
But
well, exactly. It would be unique. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. You get it, Emery. But there was this dismissal, like, other people can just do this. But Kizilhand didn't see it that way.
No.
He had very specific things. You're dealing with the Yazidi, who've experienced so much genocide, and that has to be part of the framework of
Mhm.
how you help them recover. To remind them that they've suffered this much as a
And they're
people,
still living
and that
in
they're
that
still here,
past.
but that they're still here, that they
Yeah.
survived over centuries. And that kind of thing, he's just brilliant.
Yeah, he is.
Well, so are you. So the you know, the notwithstanding all of that, the women that you have supported to date, like, are functioning. That's what I'm hearing in society, and beyond that, they're taking leadership positions, you know, to help their own community, which is really remarkable. Like, really, I mean, congratulations on that. And that takes, like, remarkable courage and persistence, and
So
I don't know how to describe it.
Well, I think
But
they're the
partly-
next great justice, feminists, that they're the next big generation of feminists because they know. And some of the kids wanted to grow up to be lawyers, to take the legal battle on. You know, it's phenomenal what's going on there, in spite of the huge injury. But some, I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, I would have been broken by what happened to those people.
Yeah.
I can't deny it. It was killing me just to read it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm older. You know, it's like there's just no way. And I can see, like, they somehow, the survivors are carrying forward this sense that we want justice, as well as we need to be cared for, and we need life.
But I think Reverend Majed El-Shafi should be given a lot of credit too, because he's gone to Ukraine, he's gone to Afghanistan, he's helped right now in Africa, and he helped Adiba profoundly when she collapsed and went to the hospital. So I think El-Shafi and One Free World.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Is that Majed that you just mentioned? Yeah. I loved his approach with, forgive me on behalf of,
Yeah.
men, and how it's so powerful, to say, look, I can't imagine that this happened to you. Forgive me for that having happened to you on behalf of, that was really powerful. Yeah.
Yes, I cried when he said that.
That was super cool. Super cool. Now, Moira, you're a professor at UBC?
No,
Oh.
I taught at UBC and Simon Fraser University and Emily Carr. And whenever somebody says, Mo, can you go to the war in Kosovo? Because there's an amazing woman who's head of democratization, I'd always leave. Or I worked on a film on missing and murdered Indigenous women. So I keep teaching and then leaving. I mean, my spirit and is actually to be making documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
So I've sort of had a blend of teaching and making documentaries. And also, I love being a cinematographer. I was a cinematographer and the editor of this film. And so I have enjoyed teaching. But as I said, I like to go to Africa.
And
I did a film several years ago in South Africa, and it was very important to me. Yeah. I wasn't the director of that one. I was the camera and the editor.
One of Mo's secrets is she films barefoot.
No.
She films barefoot.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting.
And you're sort of rooted to the ground and rooted to the earth, and it just makes me more comfortable and probably more confident. And I know people say, why do you have shoes on, Mo? And that's how I feel rooted.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I'm a sailor, and I've been racing boats for 15 years. And this summer I spent, I was supporting a boat in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, and it was a tall ship, and I was part of I was helping them to sail the vessel, and there were a number of the crew that were walking around barefoot. I had my sneakers on because there were high winds some days, but I do understand that groundedness, that being in the water, being in nature, which is really part of the feminine principle too, you know, and how
Yeah.
important that is to, yeah, it's I get a lot out of that too. I get a lot out of that too.
And connected to Mother Earth. And so, yeah.
Total. And but I was thinking about UBC, and I do know some individuals at UBC as well, and you know, I'm happy that they're supporting you in your film work, and you know, that could sort of, your content could certainly trickle through them a little bit too, I would imagine.
Well, UBC was one of my, after that I taught at Emily Carr and SFU. So UBC was actually quite a long time ago.
But we have a supporter who's still teaching at UBC. She's been
Sharon
very
McGowan,
helpful,
yeah.
Sharon McGowan.
Oh,
She
she's
supported this
wonderful.
film, and Peggy Thompson, who retired, but she was there for 20 years. And she's
At
in the
UBC,
film.
yeah.
She's the woman who says it's the least we can do,
Yeah,
you know, to keep our promise.
she was at UBC for a long time.
I was going to ask you about that, Tuttle. That's awesome. Now, how many festivals are you in now? And I'm sorry if I asked you this question before. I don't think I have, but I was so curious. Like, this is now you're building awareness, you know? And
How many have we been in, Chris?
Maybe 15, maybe.
About 15.
Yeah.
wow.
It's,
And okay, so for over what period of time?
Well, the film was completed in 2021 or the end
2020.
of 2020.
at the end of 2020
The end
was
of
our
20.
first launch. That
Yes.
was our launch. So it's
Okay.
Cheers.
yeah.
Here. Yeah.
And festivals are it. We tried to get a broadcast and failed. So festivals are the consciousness raising that, you know, this film's
That's true,
offering
Chris.
is through festivals. Festivals are very important.
Yeah, they really are. And
we've been,
you know, and especially where you have some formal training also. We've talked about that in some of the other screenings, where having the foundational sort of understanding of, you know, theater and or film and producing, and how is directing different from producing, I'm sure must be, I don't have that background personally, but I'm sure that must be helpful to you, putting together the context in a framework where it's really helping people to understand the message, you know, in a way that makes sense, and that's, you know, in your case, like it's how can the community rally around this issue too? You know, community so powerful, and in Canada, you know, we have an aging demographic too, right? And we have a lot of wisdom and a lot of highly educated people that can who are looking, or you know, starting to retire and looking for ways to be able to support causes like this. So you know, that's another opportunity for you too, as well. You know, I feel it sounds like you have the government support. It's just not delivering in the ways that you want. But maybe there are people, you know, who, you know, are successful in other ways who wouldn't mind to support you. Who knows what could happen?
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Henry.
and like Jenny Kwan, who's an MP
Mhm.
in Vancouver, I mean, she's been tremendously supportive.
She is such a fiery woman.
Yeah, brave too, right? Brave.
Brave, yeah.
Brave.
But also a lot of friends and colleagues, like as I said, we didn't apply for funding, and they were so supportive
That's true.
in giving donation after donation, because they really believed in the film. We were so good.
And
That's how
time.
we got film. I mean, we didn't get paid or anything, but nevertheless, there's still costs.
Oh, there's
Right.
real costs. And
Like
Mo's
permissions.
embedded in a documentary filmmaking kind of life, and some of people that she knew looked at the film and critiqued it. You know, that whole process.
Mm-hmm.
That was really great.
That was
Most
useful.
connections
That
were
was
huge.
helpful.
You know, because we didn't have a lot of footage. If you follow
That's
my
true,
drift. So.
Yeah, you've got a powerful story though, right? A powerful story that doesn't go away, does it really? If it's sincere and authentic, it doesn't go away.
And we had no idea when we started. Chris just organized a discussion group in a center, and we had no idea what the journey would be
No,
at all.
No, not at all.
At all.
I just knew I had to do something. Like, it was just
That's right.
so, it was just impossible not to.
They're so fortunate to have you in your group. Now Barbara is trying to get in several times. She should be set up properly. It could be in her mind that we're done already because we're a little bit over the 15 minutes. So, but is there anything that you would like to say on behalf of her? I'm so sorry that she couldn't come in because she probably would have enjoyed this a great deal. But she will, just so you're aware, while I'm on that point, you all have guest access, right? The panel guests, you have guest access so that you're able to view the other films,
Thank
in the festival at your convenience. The VODs, okay, the videos on demand that we have published on the Filmocracy site, you have access to those.
Oh,
So-
that's wonderful.
So take a look through them. You might get some ideas there because there are similar themes going on here with this festival.
And how long will we have access to them?
Through to October 6th.
Wow,
October 6th.
good. Thank you.
Yeah, and feel free to also drive like awareness with your networks who you want, or areas of groups who you want to view your own film, which will be in the video on demand area as well. It's $10 US to see all the films. Okay, there's 17.
Wow.
So it's a good deal, and it's beyond powerful information. It's beyond powerful. I feel it's like, it's really, it's so inspiring, these people who, like yourselves, who are taking action to create positive action, in the world, and they may not even see the benefits in their lifetime, but future generations will, and that's what we all need to do, is just take a little bit of action, wherever we feel led and what feels right, and we may not see the benefits ourselves to the degree that we're looking for. But in terms of Barb, what would you say on her behalf?
Barbara was really,
Sorry, Barbara. Apologize, Barbara. Apologize, I called you Barbara.
Barbara has been this, I can't, she's so hard to capture. She's really a remarkable person. And she's so lovely and funny and committed in such a deep way and such a joyous way.
And has worked often with refugees.
Yeah, she was the most experienced of all of us.
Yeah, she was.
And brought a lot to the table, that's for sure.
And she also talked about being Jewish, which I thought was
right.
I appreciated that.
Yeah.
That was Barbara. Now you know who Barbara was.
Yeah, yeah.
Barbara Schumann, and she is a co-producer, just to set some clarity there. Barbara Schumann is one of your co-producers who's been with you from the beginning, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, and she's very passionate and cares so deeply and shows up in spite of fear or hesitation or anything. She shows up. It's like, Barbara, will you be the MC at the event? Oh, okay, she says. And it's like, I'm sorry, Barbara, I'm doing the tech, And she just stands up. She's just a marvelous person. And she reaches out. She has a way of touching people for money. Like, she'd be like, do we know anybody, blah, blah, blah. And Barbara goes, oh, yeah, I go to Pilates with so-and-so. And it's like, would you mind asking them? Okay, it's off she'd go. And she was just a wonderful producer.
And we've held fundraisers for women in a women's group in the Ukraine, as well as women in Afghanistan. And she was tremendously helpful on those fundraisers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm thinking about? And likely you've already considered this, are there women's groups in your area or across Canada who've been through, who are being supported because of the trauma they've been through? I'm thinking Indigenous groups, I'm thinking, women who've been abused in different ways that, I found with the newcomer professionals to Canada that, they may represent 13 different countries and you've got 25 in a room and they're really, really quiet initially. But when you start to get them together in groups and they start talking about their experiences, and then they recognize, oh, I'm not alone in this. You've experienced this too. And you're in India and I'm here. And the empowerment.
Wow.
The empowerment is almost automatic. And peer to peer. And I'm just wondering if some of the women that you're working with might also benefit from working with women.
I got to be honest here. Like, our network was destroyed by COVID. Like,
Oh, yeah.
everything, and so many places that signed, and because that petition, I mean, what was powerful about it was that groups signed.
That's
So
right.
they'd represent 100 people or 400 people or 400 other organizations.
That was
These
very
these
powerful.
national groups, and
Yeah.
they were wonderful, but we couldn't even reach them after a while.
Yeah.
It was just everything fell apart. A number of them closed.
So there were a lot of online film festivals. So
The film, thank God for the film, because
Yeah.
the film had an online life.
Yeah. We had to move to a hybrid model. We had to do this online. We just started doing that. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and you taking it, Confess that. I mean, thank you.
Thank you.
This is how the energy has lived on about these days. Because we tried a number of different things during COVID, and finally we just said, we have to just face reality here. We can't make anything happen. All the money is going to try to solve this enormous world problem, and we gotta let it go. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's one step at a time, and you can only do what you can do, and but you do have to have a goal, and you do have to stay focused to the goal. But if you look at these other films, you might get bits of inspiration around that to see the years of challenge around an issue, but then suddenly, this catalyst of a solution comes out of nowhere, unexpected, and it makes it all worthwhile. It's very interesting.
Barbara would say, draw people's attention to Sinjar. Right now, like at the very end of the film, we just show refugee camp images, and it's because the Yazidi are in refugee camps in Iraq, and the money disappeared during COVID. So they're like dying in the refugee camps, or dying in Sinjar, or just barely surviving in either situation.
And they're scared to go home.
But they started to just go. They started to just get into vehicles and head to Sinjar, even though it's rubble. And
Is that right, eh?
Oh yeah.
Complete rubble.
And they felt like these refugee camps are death itself too. Like they're just between a rock and a hard place, and
literally, yeah.
It's so terrible. But Sinjar is their homeland. So you've got a significant number of them have gone out of these. There's almost 500,000 of them in refugee camps, going back into Sinjar. They were driven out. That's the only way they survived. They ran away from ISIS.
Under the earth, what are they?
I'm sorry.
That exploded under the earth. What is it called again? It's okay.
Oh, landmines.
Landmines.
Yeah, the ISIS left hundreds of thousands of landmines. Hundreds. And at first I was like, who sold them these landmines? Well, they're handmade. Like they're made landmines, and they put them everywhere. So there's like a group in England that's financing some Yazidi to disarm landmines in sections. So they're doing sections by sections, and some parts of Sinjar don't have landmines, and all these other parts do have landmines. And there's a huge water problem because the water is contaminated. Period.
You can't drink the water.
And the hospital's destroyed. But then Médecins Sans Frontières is in there, and they're like a miracle. That group.
Yes.
Like they're enabling people to survive that have to go to their homeland. Yeah. They can't have it taken away from them by the aftermath of war. And there's like an enormous amount of money frozen that should be financing the repair, the rebuilding of Sinjar. But all these political reasons, all these political jockeying for the money. Like it doesn't go to the Yazidi. It goes to the powers that be around them. So there's just so much injustice in this situation. And what needs to unblock is well, that money needs to go to Yazidi, the rebuilding needs to take place. These things have to be resolved. And meanwhile, Turkey is bombing Mount Sinjar because the Kurds are there. They want to kill these Kurds. It's a nightmare. I don't know. I'm not somebody with the solutions, but people like Lloyd Axworthy in Canada.
He's been very helpful.
He's very knowledgeable and has solutions. There are people who have solutions. What's her name has solutions? Nadia Murad. Like, it's not that there isn't solutions. It's just the political will and the compromising required to help these people, have their own place on Earth back.
That's safe, and sacred to them, recreating their lives. Have you just? I guess we should. I'm trying to be mindful of the time here as well.
I agree.
But have you tried Mosaic BC out of curiosity? They work with a lot of immigrants.
Oh yeah. We have.
Yeah. Okay.
What they did.
Thank you.
What they did in what they decided to do was they took on a Yazidi family.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that Yazidi family is actually they attended that outdoor press conference where Jenny Majed spoke. They came. They had just arrived like a week or two before that. And Mosaic has been helping them. And they had a really harrowing story of how they survived and got out.
We were so pleased.
It was just like this that they made it.
Yeah.
Well, I congratulate you, and I'm so happy that we've also been able to recognize Barbara. Even though I'm so sorry she wasn't able to, we were really working hard there to get her set up. So maybe she just feels it was beyond our timeline. So, but any last words, comments, next steps? What are your next steps?
We're just going to continue as we're moving forward. We'll move forward.
How many women have you supported so far?
Well, we do projects of fundraising and give the money to somebody in a good position, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with the Ukraine, from these women feminists we know in Nova Scotia, we heard about a women's group inside the Ukraine, because most people aren't escaping the Ukraine; they're in there, and these women are inside. They're outside Kyiv, and they're getting displaced people. Women, they need diapers, they need food, they need shelter, they need menstrual pads, like this kind of thing, and they're helping with that, and the people in Nova Scotia are helping with that, those women, and then we sent some money through Nova Scotia to this women's group that we raised by doing a fundraiser in a bar, and what we do is a really positive fundraiser where we showed Canadian artists. We have a whole thing on Canadian on YouTube. We do fun stuff in the bar.
But we raised thousands of dollars.
Yeah. A little bit of levity, A little bit of levity.
But we're not making a film right now.
We raised $4,000.
For the last.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we like doing something. We've got this great bar owner right near us. So.
There's a film that was screened earlier today called Mother of Apostles, and it's actually a Ukrainian filmmaker who created. It's 2 hours, and it talks to. It's based on a true story of a woman who lost her son in the Ukraine war as a pilot, and the theme of the story is on her process for trying to identify where or confirm where he is, and trying. She was very successful. I don't want to talk too much about it. She was successful in being able to rescue his friends, but I'll leave it to you to watch the movie if you're interested.
And what's the film called?
Mother of Apostles.
Mother of Apostles, right?
Wow.
It's like it's actually, I said to Sandy, we should put some messaging on it to say, violent scenes and things like that, because it is it's a true, or at least the filmmaker's perception of the war tragedies that are happening in the war. In fact, I think that Sandy was even, I think she may have selected it. I think she was selecting another Ukrainian film. So it's very interesting how the universe works, but it's there on VOD if you're interested to take a look at it. You'll probably...
We will. And
Well, you've been wonderful.
Thank you. You have been. We can't thank you enough for doing this. And
it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. And I've been with the festival now for about 7 years, but Sandy's been running it for 17. And it hasn't been easier for her at all, but she's very passionate about getting these community empowerment stories out, because that's where the power is just learning from each other and not feeling alone. Like, this is part of the process, the challenge. And the bigger the solution that's coming ahead, the bigger the challenge that's going to happen in advance. So it really is about sustaining that focus and, learning best practices and one step at a time and all that stuff.
Wow,
Well,
you're really, I see your vision. Thank you.
Yeah. You're an inspiration.
Yes, well, so are you. So are you. And it's a Canadian film. Yay. So you'll likely hear from us again shortly. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom, and good luck with every continued success with everything that you have on the go going forward. Thank you so much for reaching out to this festival, and please stay connected with us, right? So we don't know how we might be able to help each other in the future. So
Thank you.
I'd love that.
Take good care.
Really, what an honor. Thank you.
Okay, guys, have a great rest of the day, and thank you. And I hope
Good night. Yeah.
we'll chat again soon. Thank you for joining us. Bye, bye. See you.
Bye.